My son banned me from his wedding, but had the nerve to send me a bill for $90,000 to pay for his fancy party and trip to Paris. He even wrote, "Be thankful I let you help." I just smiled, feeling my sadness turn into something stronger. His perfect dream wedding would become his worst nightmare. Before we start, please hit that subscribe button for Granny's voice and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. We might give you a shout out in our next video. Today's special shout out to Yvette Turner from Washington, D.C. Now let me tell you what really happened. I sat in my small kitchen in Denver, the morning sun shining through my old curtains. The big envelope came yesterday, thick and white with my son Marcus's neat writing on it. I thought it was finally my wedding invitation. After months of him not talking to me, my fingers touched the sealed part. A tiny bit of hope filled my heart even though everything had been so hard. I opened it carefully, thinking I'd see a pretty card telling me the date and place. Maybe a note asking me to help him get ready, like we used to joke about when he was little. But no invitation came out. Instead, a bunch of papers fell onto my table. Bills, lots of them adding up to $90,000. My eyes read each line carefully. $60,000 for renting a big castle in the mountains near Denver, with beautiful gardens and shiny lights hanging everywhere. $25,000 for food and drinks, including fancy wine from faraway places and special cakes. Another $5,000 for their honeymoon room in Paris, with a view of the pretty tower. And at the bottom, a note written by Marcus himself. "Mom, after all the problems you caused our family, be happy that I'm letting you help pay. This is your part. Send the money fast. Sarah and I are counting on it." I stared at those words, the paper feeling cold in my hands. Problems. What problems was he talking about? The same problems he yelled at me about during our last big fight, when he blamed me for not making enough money at my teaching job, for the simple life we lived after his daddy left us when Marcus was 10. My hand shook a little as I put the note down, the numbers getting blurry for a moment. Next to me on the table was a picture of young Marcus, missing his front teeth and smiling big from his soccer game. His small hand holding mine tight. How did that sweet boy turn into this man who wanted my money but didn't want me at his special day? First I felt shocked, like someone poured cold water on me. I crushed the note in my hand, the paper making crackling sounds like dry leaves. But then I smoothed it out again, laying it flat on the table. No, I wouldn't let anger make me do something stupid. I pushed my chair back and stood up slowly, my old knees making little popping sounds. The kitchen felt smaller somehow, the walls closing in with memories of all the dinners I made for just Marcus and me. I walked to the sink and splashed cool water on my face, but it didn't make the hurt go away. Marcus thought he could push me out of his life while taking my savings, the money I saved by working extra hours teaching kids, by not buying nice things for myself after his father left us in 2018. He called me once after the divorce, his voice cold and mean. "You should have tried harder, Mom, for all of us." I came back to the table and picked up my mother's old ring, a family treasure that had been passed down for many years. It sparkled softly in my palm, reminding me that families should stick together no matter what. But Marcus had broken our family bond, hadn't he? He banned me because Sarah whispered that a simple school teacher would embarrass them in front of their rich friends. I smiled then, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind of smile that comes when hurt turns into something much stronger. I put the bill to the side, folding it neatly, and felt a spark light up inside me. A plan started forming in my mind like puzzle pieces coming together. I looked at the bill again, its big numbers making fun of me. The anger slowly went away, replaced by clear thinking. If Marcus thought he could trick me, he was wrong. I knew arguing with him face to face wouldn't work. He'd just ignore me like always. But I could find out information, look for weak spots in their perfect plan. My old computer sat on the kitchen counter, dusty but ready to help. Time to discover what they were really up to. That spark stayed with me as I looked at the photo again, picking it up this time. Marcus's young face looked back at me, innocent and full of dreams from a day at the park when he was 9. He had climbed into my lap during a scary thunderstorm, hiding his face against my shoulder while rain hit our car windows hard. "Don't worry, Mom," he had said, his voice quiet and muffled. "You're the strongest person I know." I had held him close, promising to always protect him, just like his father used to watch us with that warm smile before everything changed. I walked around the kitchen now, the old wooden floors creaking under my feet. The smell of this morning's coffee still hung in the air. Those memories came rushing back without warning, weekends teaching him to ride his bike in the neighborhood, his laughter echoing as he finally got it right. We had been unbreakable then, just the two of us against the world. But after the divorce, everything changed. Marcus was 22, already working at a big computer company, and he started pulling away from me. "You let Dad leave, Mom," he accused one night over the phone in 2019, his voice full of anger and blame. If you had been a better wife, maybe he would have stayed. I had swallowed the pain, reminding him about the fights, the times his father came home late smelling like another woman's perfume. But Marcus didn't want to listen. He only saw my mistakes, our small apartment, my regular teaching job that he thought wasn't good enough. Last Easter had been the final straw. I had driven to their fancy apartment downtown, carrying homemade cookies like I used to make when he was little. Sarah had barely looked up from her phone, whispering something to Marcus that made him roll his eyes. "Mom, we're on a special diet now," he had said, pushing my cookies away. And honestly, showing up without calling first is really awkward. I had left early, the drive home a blur of streetlights, feeling like an old relic in their shiny new world. Now this bill. It was the final insult, demanding I pay for their party while they pushed me aside like garbage. My hands made fists at my sides as I stopped by the window, watching leaves blow across the yard. The anger built up inside me, a steady fire replacing the sad memories. How dare he treat me like I was worthless, then expect me to be grateful for the chance to pay his bills? I wasn't going to be the victim anymore. Not today, not ever. I had raised him by myself after his father left, given up vacations and nice things to give him a good start in life. And Sarah, with her expensive purses and social media posts, helping him be so greedy and mean. No, this betrayal needed consequences. I promised myself then, silently but with all my heart, to turn their perfect day into a lesson they would never forget. Rain started tapping against the window, matching the storm building inside me. I turned away from the window, my determination getting stronger like steel. A tiny doubt flickered. Was I too old for this fight? But I pushed it away. Standing up for yourself isn't about age. It's about keeping your dignity. With that thought, I reached for my computer, its cool surface grounding me as I got ready to dig deeper into their plans. The computer hummed to life as the room got darker, its screen casting a blue glow across my messy table. I settled into my chair, the rain now drumming steadily outside, and opened the internet with determined clicks. Marcus's social media was private, but Sarah's wasn't. She loved showing off their life to everyone. I scrolled through her posts, each one making me feel worse. Can't wait for our dream wedding at Mountain View Manor. Living our best life. The date jumped out at me, December 12, 2024, just a few weeks away. Pictures showed the fancy place. Its big ballroom decorated with fake setups, chandeliers sparkling like diamonds. I sipped from a cup of cheap tea I had been saving for special occasions, its bitter taste helping me focus better. It was time for action, not feeling sorry for myself. I wrote notes on a piece of paper. Venue Mountain View Manor, $60,000 rental. Caterer, Elegant Eats, bragging about farm-fresh food for 150 guests. Photographer, some expensive professional named Katie Moore. Her portfolio linked in Sarah's comments. Amazing photos coming soon. Sarah had written with heart emojis. I argued with myself in my head. Should I talk to Marcus directly? No, that would just give him the satisfaction of dismissing me again. Better to work from the shadows, make him feel like he was losing control of everything he feared most. Tab after tab opened on my computer. Wedding planner Jennifer Walsh's website. Her bio talking about perfect events for picky clients. A mutual friend on Facebook confirmed she was handling everything. An old student of Marcus had liked a post about the booking. Honeymoon details came from a travel agency's advertisement. Paris resort, fancy suite with a view, all paid for by the bill they sent me. My anger flared up again when I saw a video Sarah shared of her trying on wedding dresses, Marcus grinning beside her like a fool. "Mommy's paying for the party indirectly," she joked in the comments, adding a winking emoji. Indirectly. The nerve of it all fueled my determination. I looked up all the vendors, building a list. Flower shop, DJ, even the fancy car service. The expensive stuff was shocking, way more than Marcus's salary could cover without my money. A moment of hesitation crept in. Was this revenge going too far? Was I risking what little family connection was left? But then I remembered his note again, that condescending privilege in every word, and the doubt disappeared like smoke. This was about self-respect, teaching him that greed has consequences that hurt. My hands became steady on the keyboard as I found Jennifer Walsh's phone number, the wedding planner at the center of it all. Taking a deep breath, I decided it was time to make the call, to start unraveling their perfect plan thread by thread. The phone rang twice before a smooth voice answered, polished like a marble countertop. "Walsh Wedding Planning, this is Jennifer speaking. How can I make your special day extraordinary?" I leaned against the kitchen counter, the phone cool against my ear, steadying my breathing. "Hello, Jennifer. This is Maria Santos, Marcus Santos's mother. I'm the one paying for his wedding." A pause, then warmth filled her voice like honey. "Mrs. Santos, Marcus mentioned you'd be calling about final payments. We're so excited you're contributing to such a beautiful event. Mountain View Manor is booked solid, and Sarah's vision is coming together perfectly." I let her talk for a moment about flower arrangements and musicians, my mind getting sharper like a knife being sharpened. "Actually, Jennifer, I'd rather discuss this in person. Can we meet tomorrow? I have some details I need to clarify." She agreed quickly, suggesting her office in downtown Denver at 11 a.m. I hung up, the click echoing in the quiet room, and poured myself another cup of tea, swirling it as I imagined her face when the truth hit like a lightning bolt. No more hiding behind notes and bills. Time to face this head-on. I leaned back in my chair, energy pulsing through me like electricity. The meeting with Jennifer was the first step, and I needed to be ready for anything. I spent the rest of the evening looking at the bill again, writing down important numbers to keep the facts straight in my head. Before bed, I picked out a clean blouse and nice pants. Nothing too fancy, but enough to look serious and determined. As I lay down to sleep, I felt the plan become solid like concrete. Tomorrow morning I woke up early, coffee in a travel mug, keys in hand, ready to head out into the world. The next morning I drove through light traffic, the winter leaves swirling like confetti on my windshield. A brief moment of doubt grabbed me at a red light. Was this the point where I couldn't turn back? But I pushed it away, pressing the gas as the light turned green. Jennifer's office was in a tall building on Main Street, all glass and shiny metal, very different from my simple school where I taught children. I parked and walked in, the lobby's cold air carrying hints of expensive perfume that made my nose tickle. Jennifer greeted me with a firm handshake, her suit perfectly fitted and her smile bright like a light bulb. "Mrs. Santos, please come in. Coffee." She led me to a comfortable chair across from her desk, which was covered with fabric samples and contracts. A framed photo of a happy couple under a gazebo caught my eye, stirring up my quiet determination. That joy wouldn't be Marcus's, not on my money. We sat down and she pulled out a thick file. "So, the $90,000 covers everything. Venue, catering, even the honeymoon deposit." Marcus assured me it's all arranged. I leaned forward, my voice steady and clear. "Did he? Tell me, Jennifer, did Marcus mention that he banned me from the wedding? That I'm not even invited to this expensive party I'm supposedly paying for?" Her eyes got wide, the pen slipping from her fingers like it was made of butter. "Banned? No," he said, "family contributions were handled privately. This is very awkward." "Awkward?" I repeated, my voice sharp and cutting. Try insulting. He sent me the bill with a note saying I should be grateful. After raising him alone, after everything I sacrificed for him. Jennifer shifted in her chair, rubbing her forehead like she had a headache. I don't know what to say. The contracts are signed, but without full payment we can't move forward. Deposits might not be refundable, but the balance. Exactly, I interrupted firmly. Tell Marcus the wedding stops until he talks to me like I'm his mother, not his bank account. No money from me, and if he pushes back, remind him how easily perfect plans can fall apart. She nodded slowly, looking stunned and confused. I'll call him today. This definitely changes things. As I stood up to leave, I heard her mutter under her breath. That ungrateful boy. Gave me strength like fuel for my fire. I stepped out into the crisp winter air, the door clicking shut behind me, and felt the ripple effect spread like a stone thrown into a calm pond. Standing on the sidewalk, I felt a surge of power, but I knew I couldn't go far alone. Jennifer was just the beginning. Marcus wouldn't give up easily, and I needed people I could trust to be my eyes and ears. Rosa's name came to my mind. My neighbor who knew Marcus better than most. In my car I checked my phone. No missed calls yet, but the quiet wouldn't last long. As I drove onto the highway toward home, my thoughts turned to finding allies. Looking through my contacts, I stopped at Rosa's name, a friendship that had lasted for years. Rosa's daughter had been Marcus's friend growing up, but he had ditched her when his ambition took over. A quick memory flashed, Rosa at my kitchen table after Marcus graduated, sharing coffee while our kids played in the backyard. That boy's got potential, she had said, but watch out for his pride. I called before doubt could settle in my mind. Rosa, it's Maria. Been too long. How are you? Her voice came through surprised but warm. Maria. Goodness, yes. How have you been? Is everything all right? Not exactly, I admitted honestly. Marcus is getting married, but it's complicated. Can we meet? I need your help, and I heard you've been working as an event coordinator with photography skills. She chuckled, but it sounded sad. Word gets around in this neighborhood. Sure, honey. The old diner on Broadway in an hour. I agreed, hanging up as I pulled into my driveway. The house felt less empty with purpose filling every room. An hour later, I sat at a corner table in the diner, the smell of fresh apple pie mixing with the sound of coffee cups clinking. Rosa arrived looking older than I remembered, with kind eyes that had seen a lot of life and a camera bag hanging from her shoulder. We hugged warmly, her embrace steady and comforting. Maria, you look tired. I'm sorry about the divorce. Your ex-husband was never good enough for you. Thanks, Rosa. Call me Maria, please. I slid her a coffee. Marcus banned me from his wedding but sent a bill for $90,000. I'm not paying and I'm fighting back. Her face got hard and angry. That sounds exactly like him. He dropped my daughter years ago when she wouldn't lie on a job application for him. Said she was holding him back with her small-town values. I nodded, feeling the pain gently. I've heard similar stories. He's used people his whole climb to success. Oh yes, Rosa said, leaning closer, her voice full of old hurt. In college, he copied my daughter's project ideas and claimed them as his own. When she confronted him about it, he completely ignored her calls and texts. Sarah is just like him. All about looking good to other people. We made plans over coffee refills. She would take pictures of the wedding from outside the venue, capturing any chaos with photos and videos, ready to use them if we needed leverage later. A mutual friend waved from the counter. Old Mrs. Chen from our neighborhood, bringing back a funny memory. Remember when you and Marcus filled her mailbox with fake snow in August? Rosa smiled, but it faded quickly. Those days are long gone. He's completely changed. So have I replied firmly. But this partnership between us, it's real and it's strong. We separated with a firm handshake, ideas spinning in my head like steam from our coffee cups. What if we need more recordings and documentation? I asked, the question hanging in the air as she nodded thoughtfully. Come by my place tonight, I suggested with growing confidence. Bring whatever equipment you have, and let's start preparing for real. Rosa grinned, her eyes sparkling with excitement and determination. Deal, Maria. I'll be there at 8 o'clock sharp. That question echoed in my mind as I drove home, rain starting to tap on the roof again like tiny fingers. By evening, I had texted Rosa to come over, unable to wait any longer. She arrived at my door with a toolkit in hand, the heavy downpour turning the porch light into a soft, hazy glow. Ready to level up our game, she said, stepping inside and shaking the rain off her coat like a wet dog. We moved to the living room where I cleared space on the coffee table. Dim lamps cast long shadows across the faded rugs, and I handed her a steaming mug of hot chocolate, its steam curling upward like a promise of better things to come. Show me how to protect myself. Recordings, cameras, everything I need to know. Rosa unpacked her gadgets carefully. A small voice recorder, hidden cameras, even apps for keeping track of phone calls. First, the legal basics, she explained, her voice steady and teaching-like. In Colorado, one-party consent for recordings means you can record your own conversations. Hit this button mid-call. I practiced on a pretend setup, her demonstration showing me tactics Marcus might try to use against me. Making me feel crazy, blaming me for things that weren't my fault. Like when he blamed you for his father leaving, Rosa said softly, her voice full of understanding. I remember you working 2 jobs to pay the bills after the divorce. He chose to ignore that sacrifice. The words hit me hard, pulling up a painful memory. Marcus as a teenager after his father left, yelling at me and calling me weak while I buried my sadness in work and taking care of him. I shared the memory briefly, my voice catching with emotion. He deserved better from both his parents. You gave him everything, Rosa replied, her tone gentle but firm. I owe you 2. When my husband left, you let my daughter stay here for weeks, helped her with homework. We raised our mugs quietly, toasting to justice instead of revenge. She walked me through camera placement, showing me the best angles. Point it here toward the door. It catches faces clearly. I tested one device, the video feed coming through crystal clear on my phone. A surge of strength rose inside me as the image became steady and sharp. But as the device hummed quietly, a new thought entered my mind like an unwelcome visitor. What if Marcus called tonight? I could sense the shift in my emotions, and Rosa noticed it too. Marcus didn't call that night, but I knew the silence wouldn't last much longer. The next day passed with intense waiting and preparation. I checked my phone constantly, tested the cameras multiple times, and took a long walk around the neighborhood to calm my nervous energy. Every car that drove by made me jump, thinking it might be him coming to confront me. By evening, I was on edge, my nerves stretched tight like guitar strings, when the phone finally buzzed loudly on the table. His name flashing on the screen like a warning. The device hummed softly in my hand, its small green light glowing steadily, when my phone started buzzing on the table, cutting through the evening quiet like a sharp knife. I was in the middle of making dinner, the stove just starting to sizzle with onions, steam rising up in lazy spirals. The screen lit up bright, Marcus's name in bold letters. I let it ring and ring, watching the vibrations make the phone dance across the wooden surface. A cold breeze from the window matched the tension growing in my stomach like a knot. It went to voicemail, then buzzed again right away. Sarah this time, her name appearing like a bad omen. I ignored that call too, stirring the onions as the smell of cooking food filled the air, the scent grounding me as I remembered Rosa's advice. Record everything. Their words will become your weapons. A few days had passed since our training session, filled with quiet preparations, installing apps, testing camera angles around the house, even taking peaceful walks around the neighborhood to clear my head and think clearly. But now the storm was finally breaking, notifications piling up like snow, 3 voicemails waiting, texts flashing urgent messages. I sat at the kitchen table, the dim overhead light casting dancing shadows on the walls, and played the first voicemail, my finger hovering over the button before pressing it with determination. Mom, it's Marcus. There's been some kind of misunderstanding with the payments. The wedding planner called and said you're pulling out. Call me back right away. We need to fix this mess. His voice started calm and controlled, but an edge crept in like gravel scraping concrete. I played it again, noting the panic bubbling underneath his words like water about to boil. Misunderstanding, as if his bill and ban were just accidents or mistakes. The second voicemail came from Sarah. Maria, it's Sarah. Marcus is really upset right now. The vendors are threatening to cancel everything without your money. Don't do this to us. It's really petty and mean. Her tone was clipped and superior, like she was scolding a naughty child. Petty, the word stung like a bee, but I found myself smiling slightly, sipping my tea. Rosa had warned me this would happen. Desperation disguised as accusations. The third voicemail came from Marcus again, urgency climbing higher like a thermometer in summer. Mom, seriously, please pick up the phone. Everything's falling apart piece by piece. You owe us this money after everything that's happened. The pause hinted at old grudges and blame. His breathing heavy and labored. I listened to it twice more, analyzing the rising pitch in his voice like a music teacher. The threats were becoming clearer now. Rumors must be spreading like wildfire. Jennifer had obviously done her part perfectly. Then came a call from an old friend, Mrs. Peterson from down the street. Her voice careful and hesitant when I answered quickly. Maria, I heard whispers at book club today. Something about Marcus's wedding having money troubles. People are saying there are serious financial issues. I hope you're doing okay, dear. Her words sparked something inside me. A twist of satisfaction. Public whispers were already starting, spreading like ripples in a pond. I hadn't expected the news to travel so far so fast through our small community. It fueled my determination, giving me a surge of control after years of being pushed aside and ignored. But as I set the phone down carefully, another voicemail notification pinged in with a sharp sound. Marcus's voice was cracking this time, breaking like thin ice. If you don't fix this situation right now, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. The threat hung there in the air, replaying in my mind as I stared at the phone screen. His words echoing like thunder. That threat was still echoing in my thoughts the next evening when the phone rang again, insistent and demanding like a heartbeat pounding in the quiet living room where I paced back and forth, the recording app open and ready to capture everything. I gripped the phone tightly in my hand, letting it ring 4 long times before answering, a deliberate pause designed to unsettle him and make him worry. Hello, Marcus. Mom, finally. What the hell is going on here? Jennifer says you're refusing to pay for anything. You're sabotaging our entire wedding. His accusation burst out like water from a broken dam, voice pitching high with frustration and anger. I breathed steadily and calmly, the soft carpet under my feet keeping me grounded. Sabotaging. You banned me from your wedding. You sent me a bill like I was just a sponsor, not your mother. Remember your note. Be grateful, you said. A beat of silence stretched between us. Then he exploded like fireworks. That was. Look, it's not like that at all. Sarah's friends, the social circle. You're just a teacher, Mom. It wouldn't fit with the image we're trying to create. But the money, you owe it to us. After Dad left, after all the struggles you caused our family. The jab about his father leaving twisted inside me like a knife, but I stayed calm and controlled, recording every single word he said. Oh, I raised you completely alone after he abandoned us. I sold my car to pay for your college. You blame me for his choices, then ignore me when it's convenient. No, Marcus. No payment from me. You're ruining everything, he shouted, the words raw and desperate. Sarah is furious with this whole situation. The caterers want their deposits right now. The venue is holding our date but threatening extra fees every day. You have to fix this. I paused, drawing strength from my mother's ring sitting on the side table, its gentle sparkle reminding me of enduring dignity through hard times. Fix what you broke, Marcus. Talk to me like I'm your mother, not your personal ATM machine. Then Sarah's voice cut through the phone like a sharp blade speakerphone. I realized with a jolt. Maria, this is absolutely ridiculous. We're trying to build a life together here. Your pettiness could cancel everything we've worked for. Think about how embarrassing this will be for everyone involved. Her interruption spiked the tension higher, her tone dripping with disdain and superiority. Embarrassment. Like banning your future mother-in-law from the wedding. I'm thinking about the bill you sent me demanding I fund your honeymoon while excluding me from the ceremony. Marcus jumped back into the conversation, his voice defensive and sharp. It's about duty, Mom. Family contributes to important events. Just admit it. You're jealous of my success and Sarah's family's money. The admission slipped out before he could stop it. Jealousy as his excuse for everything. It hit me like a revelation, exposing his massive ego and self-centeredness. I responded firmly and clearly. Success built on using people and throwing them away when convenient. Not anymore, son. The phone line crackled with his heavy, labored breathing. You'll regret this decision. We're done here. He hung up abruptly, the sudden silence ringing in my ears like a bell. His final words echoing as a key slip, a vulnerability accidentally revealed that sharpened my resolve like a blade. That vulnerability stayed in my thoughts as I paced the hallway restlessly, the house quiet except for the gentle hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Moments later, a text alert chimed softly. Rosa texting. Update, vendors demanding immediate payment. Rumors flying around the venue like crazy. Photos coming your way. I opened the attachment with anticipation. Blurry shots of workers pausing their setup work, looking confused and worried. A flower delivery truck sitting and waiting uncertainly. The images fueled my determination like gasoline on a fire. But then Marcus's texts started flooding in like a dam bursting. Selfish old woman. Destroying our special day over your hurt ego. Short, stabbing accusations glowing angrily on my phone screen. I scrolled through them with a steady heart when my neighbor's call came through. Mr. Rodriguez from across the street. His voice gruff but supportive. Maria, I saw Marcus yelling at a delivery driver yesterday outside your house. Rude as anything, demanding discounts like he owned the whole world. His voice was rough but kind. I heard about the wedding mess from other neighbors. If you need any backup or support, I'm here for you. Remember how he snubbed everyone at the block party last summer? Acted like he was too good for all of us regular folks. I leaned against the wall, phone pressed to my ear. Thanks, Rodriguez. What exactly happened with the delivery driver? He chuckled, but it sounded dry and humorless. Guy was dropping off something, invitations or flowers, I think. Marcus screamed at him about a tiny wrinkle in the packaging, saying, Do you know who I am? Sarah just stood there watching like she enjoyed the show. Folks around here are talking, and vendors are pulling out left and right. The story painted Marcus's arrogance in vivid detail, a perfect example of his treatment of me and everyone else. I appreciate you telling me this, Rodriguez. It keeps me going strong. No problem at all, Maria, he replied, his voice warm and genuine. You've got this whole community behind you. He doesn't have anybody. We hung up, and I immediately texted Rosa back. More evidence from neighbor. Marcus is alienating everyone around him. Her reply came instantly. Perfect. Escalation happening fast. Wedding preparations completely falling apart. But as I set the phone down on the table, a new text from an unknown number popped up on my screen. Maybe a vendor hinting at deeper trouble brewing. Mrs. Santos, regarding wedding cancellation fees. The words trailed off ominously, spiking a fresh wave of urgency through my body as the ticking clock on the mantel seemed to count down to something big and inevitable. The gray light of dawn crept through my curtains on December 12, 2024, the wedding day, as snow began to fall against the window panes like tiny white dancers. I had woken up early, that ticking clock from last night still echoing in my ears like a drumbeat, reminding me of all the urgency that had built up over the past week. Those days had slipped by in a steady rhythm of quiet watching, monitoring updates from Rosa, ignoring the increasingly desperate texts from Marcus, even taking long walks in the crisp Denver air to steel my nerves against any wavering doubt that tried to creep in. Now, as I checked the weather app on my phone, forecasts of heavy snowfall mirrored the storm I had created, a symbolic blanket covering up all the pretenses and lies. I made coffee, the rich smell filling my small kitchen like a warm hug, and settled at the table with my phone ready for updates. Rosa's first text came at 7:30 a.m. sharp. At the venue now. Vendors arriving. Or not arriving. Photos coming soon. I sipped slowly, the mug warming my cold hands as images started trickling in throughout the morning. Florists loading their vans back up after unloading only half the flower arrangements, their faces looking frustrated and worried under big umbrellas. Deposit problems. One caption read simply, "They're packing up and leaving." The chaos unfolded before my eyes in real-time snapshots sent to my phone. A catering truck sitting idle in the parking lot, its engine running. Workers boxing up crates of untouched fancy plates and silverware, looking confused and angry. Snow turning the driveway into a slippery, dangerous mess. Guests started arriving around 1 p.m., Rosa's sneaky photos showing confused groups of people huddled under tents and awnings. Umbrellas blooming everywhere like black flowers in a winter garden. Overheard people asking, "Where's the setup? What's going on?" Her message said. I ignored a constant stream of calls from Marcus, my phone buzzing like an angry bee trapped on the kitchen table. Voicemails piled up one after another. I played just one, his voice completely frantic and desperate. "Mom, send the money right now. Everything's falling apart around us. The venue managers are threatening to shut down the whole thing." The desperation cracked through his words like ice breaking, such a far cry from his earlier arrogance and superiority. More photos kept coming. The grand ballroom only half decorated, chairs scattered around randomly with no organization. No sign of the fancy musicians anywhere. Then came a photo that twisted something deep inside my heart. Sarah in her beautiful white wedding dress, her face completely crumpled with tears, snow streaking down the venue windows behind her like frozen tears from heaven. Doubt flickered briefly in my mind like a candle in the wind. Was this too cruel, turning their special day into a public disaster? But then I remembered the bill's condescending tone, the ban that cut deeper than any winter cold, and my doubt melted away like snow in spring, replaced by quiet satisfaction. Justice isn't always gentle or kind. By mid-afternoon, Rosa reported, guests milling around aimlessly, some already leaving early. Rumors spreading like wildfire. Family feud over money. I paced around my small living room, snow drumming steadily against the windows, imagining the humiliation unfolding miles away at that fancy venue. Another voicemail from Marcus, his voice now completely pleading and broken. "Please, Mom, just wire the money. Guests are actually laughing at us. Please help us." A guest's whispered comment came through in Rosa's audio clip. "This is a complete disaster. Such poor planning and organization." The snowfall got heavier and thicker, sheets of white blurring my view of the yard, as if nature itself was helping with this reckoning and justice. But then my phone rang again, Marcus's name flashing on the screen like a desperate beacon. His voice right on the edge of complete breakdown when it went to voicemail one more time. That mid-ring plea hung in the cold air as I let it roll to voicemail once again. The sound was suddenly swallowed by loud, insistent pounding on my front door, heavy and urgent amid the swirling snowstorm outside. Snow was piling up on the porch steps, creating little white mountains, when I approached slowly and carefully, peering through the peephole. Marcus and Sarah stood there, both completely disheveled in formal clothes under hastily thrown winter coats, hair wet from melting snow, faces pale and drawn like ghosts. I opened the door just a crack, cold air and snowflakes spraying inside. "What are you doing here at my house?" Marcus pushed forward desperately, melting snow dripping from his sleeves onto my entry rug, forming a puddle like unwelcome tears. "Mom, please let us in. The wedding is completely ruined. Vendors left. Guests scattered in the snow. It's become a joke now. Sarah huddled behind him like a lost child, her makeup completely smudged, her beautiful wedding dress peeking out absurdly from under her heavy coat. Maria, please just wire the money right now. We can still salvage something from this mess. I stepped aside reluctantly, closing the door against the howling wind and driving snow. They stood there dripping in my warm hallway, the familiar scent of my home clashing sharply with their desperation and panic. Salvage what? After banning me and treating me like a bank account instead of your mother. Marcus ran his hand through his wet, messy hair, his voice finally breaking completely. It was a terrible mistake. Sarah's idea about the image, but now everything's collapsed. Help us, Mom. For old time's sake, please. I crossed my arms, steady despite the emotional pull tugging at my heartstrings. A memory flashed. Marcus as a teenager after his father left, blaming me for being weak while I buried my grief in work and caring for him. Strengthened my resolve. Old times. Like when you blamed me for Dad leaving, ignored me unless you needed money. Sarah stepped forward, her voice shaking for the first time, vulnerability cracking through her usual superiority. We didn't mean it like that. It's just the stress of everything. The honeymoon's already booked. Deposits are lost. Please think of our future together. Think of your future. I echoed, my voice calm but pointed like a sharp knife. Would you even value me without my wallet? Answer me that honestly. Marcus hesitated, his eyes darting around nervously. Of course you're family, Mom. But success requires certain standards. Please just transfer the money and we can work everything else out later. That admission, standards over family bonds, hung heavy in the air, exposing the shallow foundation of their love. No, Marcus. This is what consequences look like. Greed and disrespect have a price. He fell to his knees then, voice rising desperately. You're destroying our lives. Guests are whispering and laughing. Vendors are mocking us publicly. Fix this for your son. Sarah clutched his arm, whispering urgently, but I shook my head firmly. Go home. Learn from this painful lesson. As I moved toward the door to show them out, Marcus's final words tumbled out, raw and broken. Wait, Mom. Sorry. I truly regret everything, the bill, the ban, all of it. The snow roared outside like nature's applause, and I closed the door on them gently but firmly, their footsteps retreating into the storm as his regret lingered in the air like an echo of hope for the future. If you enjoyed this story of a mother's justice, please like this video, subscribe to Granny's Voice, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if what I did was right. Thank you for listening.